Hello and welcome to another episode of Accounting Insiders. My name is Gary DeHart and I'm the publisher of Insightful Accountant. And I am filming today at Xerocon 2022 in New Orleans, Louisiana. And I am joined by Natalia Arriaga, who is a student at Winthrop University in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So we're somewhat neighbors. I'm a Georgia guy, South Carolina. So I'll certainly drive fairly close to there. She's an accounting major. We're going to get into that, but she kind of got dragged in here. She's like, why am I even here? But the reason she's here is to talk about scholarships. She is a recipient of a Zero scholarship that was placed through NABA, which is the National Association of Black Accountants. We'll get into that as well as a second scholarship from AMPD, right? Is that the right correct? Which is done through the school, but sponsored by PwC. Well, thanks. Thanks for taking a couple of minutes, even though you came in totally blind, no idea what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
That's all right. We're going to have just a conversation. Okay. So, all right. So, a couple of scholarship winners. So, obviously, you must have decent grades.
Fairly decent.
Decent.
Could be better.
Well,
hoping to make them better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't tell Zero or NABA. So, no, what was that process like? Was it like somebody say, hey, because when you first got here, when we first kind of had just an intro, you brought it up. You're like, well, NABA, can I really even be a member of NABA? So what do you know about NABA? Let's start there.
Okay.
Can you share a little bit about that? I've heard it. I know it's the National Association of Black Accountants, but you're not a black accountant.
That is true.
Okay.
So, actually, I'd never heard of it before entering college. Apparently, like, it's very, very large. But honestly, the thing that I've gotten most from it is the networking. So it's really great for networking. They push, meeting new people, introducing you to companies, local and corporate, and everything to try and get you as many opportunities as you can, because what they like to focus on is minorities and making sure that they're not going to struggle and that they're ready for the workplace and the struggles that they might face there. So we talk about it and how to approach it. But we get a lot of networking opportunities. They are constantly emailing us about companies looking for interns, so we have a lot of internship opportunities as well. But the biggest thing for me so far through them, aside from the networking, has been the scholarship opportunities.
Right.
They offer so much money. I think I get about 2 scholarships a year from them, and it's been wonderful. The application process is super easy. Talking to them is super easy, and they're so considerate of everyone, and they always get us in contact with our sponsors. So I've gotten to meet a lot of different people and learn about companies that I'd never heard of. For example, Zero. I did not know anything about them before. I learned that they were my sponsor, and now I'm here. So.
Right. Here you are in
in
New Orleans. Have you been to New Orleans before?
No.
So,
another new thing.
And so you have a lot of hair. So when you stepped off the plane, did you just go whoosh, right? Because it's so humid here.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. So I did not have to worry about that. Yes. And so NABA, do they do local meetups like in South Carolina? Or do they have kind of presence across the country?
So they're actually trying to implement a new thing, so it's a little bit of a complicated answer. So before we had like chapters, depending on the schools that want to open a chapter, and you'd have like a leadership person, so somebody like I think over the schools who have chapters in South Carolina. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Okay.
But now they're trying to implement this new thing called One NABA. So they're trying to make it all one. We all report back to the one place.
Okay. For consistency, probably makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right?
A bit of a complicated matter, so not anything we probably wouldn't touch on too much right now, because not everyone's particularly on board yet.
Right.
So there's kind of some complications with it right now, but I know that's what they're trying to implement. I'm not sure what all it entails, to be honest with you. But there's a chapter at my school, thankfully, and we're still open, so that's pretty great.
And how big is that chapter?
It was pretty big my freshman year. It's been dwindling a little bit because the name, unfortunately, and I'm not going to judge them based on their name because I know they had, one main focus at one point. But due to the name, they do allow more than just accountants and more than just African American people. So we don't have too many participants as of this year, but we're going to try and do better. I become the vice president of my chapter this
Awesome.
year, so
Okay.
we're going to try and make sure that we get the word out about the fact that we're more inclusive than the name entails. So hopefully we'll get more participants, but we had about like maybe 50 members
Okay.
my freshman year and maybe 30 last year, but a lot of the people who were in it last year graduated. So
Okay. So you said they allow more than just accountants.
yeah.
So anybody in finance or
So I think it's only a few. I think it's specifically more focused towards accounting and finance and maybe marketing.
okay.
I'm not completely sure.
Okay.
Something we're going to try and figure out and
Right.
advertise too.
Well,
But
now,
even
now you're the
finance doesn't
VP,
know.
right?
Yeah.
So you can be like, we're going to find this out.
See.
So, all right. And so your major is accounting, but you're also working finance and Spanish, which we laughed about a minute ago. But so how'd you get into accounting?
So actually, and I tell everyone this story because I find it very strange, but so my junior or senior, it was like summer between junior and senior year. I had still been planning in high school to be an OBGYN.
Oh, okay.
Totally different.
Right. Yeah.
Clearly, no correlation
I think
whatsoever.
there's a lot of that happens, like between that senior and freshman year. People are like, I'm gonna, save the world, and they're like, maybe I'm just gonna save myself. But,
Yeah. Yeah. So in high school, I was like, all throughout high school, pretty much, I was like, I'm gonna be some kind of doctor, and then I'd settled on OBGYN because I'm not gonna lie, the money, because why not?
Sure.
Money's good.
Hey,
You need
they
it.
get paid pretty well.
Yeah. So that's what I was set on, and then my mom. One day we were like coming back from running some errands, and she sits me in the car outside of our house, and she's like, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I was like, "Sure, what's up?" She's like, "Yeah, so I don't think you can be a doctor." And I was like, "What do you mean?" That's kind of offensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
I got a
"Why
lot
are
of
you
problems
just
with that
telling me
statement
this?
there.
I'm about
Yeah.
to graduate, and you're telling me I shouldn't be the thing that I'm pursuing." And it was like time to apply for colleges. So I was like, should have said something sooner, you know?
Your timing is terrible.
Yeah, seriously, I was so upset. I was like, why would you say that? She's like, listen, you're very intelligent. I think you could make it as a doctor, but like realistically with your personality, I don't know if that's what you'd want to do. Like, then she gave me an example. I was like, what do you mean? Can you explain what you're saying? She's like, yeah, if a child came in and scraped his knee, you would say, stop crying, stick a Band-Aid on it, and send him home. I was like, listen, he shouldn't be crying about a scraped knee.
Exactly. Well, what else would I say? Right? That's
Yeah.
funny.
So I was like, well, okay, I see your point a little bit, but what would you suggest I do? Like, this is what I'd based all my plans on. And she was like, I don't know, just I don't think doctor is going to suit you. And I was like, well, I need suggestions here. You just threw me completely off course. And she's like, well, what about business? And it just clicked. Like, I realized in high school, like, every single elective that I took was a business course. Entrepreneurship, economics, finance, and then finally accounting my senior year.
Okay.
And through that accounting course, after I decided on business, I was like, okay, I liked my finance class. I had already taken that class, so I was like, okay, maybe finance. And then I took an accounting course in senior year after coming to the decision on business, and I literally fell in love. I loved the coursework, loved the material, loved the conversations I had with my teacher. She definitely pushed me in this direction without a doubt. She was wonderful to talk to. She gave me a lot of insight because she was an accountant and her son's in accounting, so she was very passionate about the subject.
Right.
And so it made me passionate about the subject, and so I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. So.
Well, there you go. Well, we talked about it before, but there is this massive talent gap that is, I guess, we're probably really already on the cusp of it, but that the profession needs people like you. But how do we? And I used the term earlier. It's not a derogatory term, but a numbers nerd. How do you? I mean, your classes probably aren't like your accounting classes. Probably aren't 500 people sitting in the class, right? It's probably a fairly small number.
Yeah.
But as a student who loves accounting, what does the profession do to attract more people like you who may actually really like it if they knew what it was or had any other exposure to it?
Yeah, so hopefully people haven't been lying to me about this, but every professional that I've spoken to as like a mentor, and generally they tell me like, I originally don't want to do accounting for two reasons. One, everybody in my high school is like, I'm going to be an accountant. I'm like, no, you're not. You just want the money.
Yeah.
You're not going to do it. Let's be realistic. And then also because everyone's like, it's so math based.
Mm-hmm.
But after talking to all these professionals who are like CPA certified and, actually doing accounting, they're like, it's not that much math. Like, and if it is math, it's simple math. And I think that's what scares most people away from accounting, is that, people are marketing it as a lot of math based things. And if people realize that it's not like purely focused on math, or that it's not like, trigonometry
Right, yeah.
that you have to
Which is-
learn, people would be more comfortable and more interested in it, because like, I'm not great at math, like, not hard math, algebra, trigonometry,
Right.
absolutely afraid of it. I do not like the word trigonometry.
Right,
I would
yeah.
never willingly take a class like that. But and I was still scared even having decided it as my major. But I trusted the people who had told me, like, this isn't going to be, like, I think you could do it. You just have to be organized, meticulous, things like that. Pay attention to detail. If people realize, like, those are the things that are more important, I think they'd be more interested in it. Because I know a lot of people who are, like, OCD and love, like, detailed work, but they're scared of the math portion of it.
Right.
So they won't get near accounting.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not really math even, right? I mean,
Exactly.
it's like you said, it's got to be in the right place,
Yep.
the right amount,
Mhm.
right? And
And-
that's really the key.
And like with Excel, there's so many formulas that really do the math for you. So you're still not doing a lot of math.
Right.
You're just memorizing formulas.
Yeah, and it's funny, the last two people that I interviewed today, first lady her background is marketing. She actually
Yeah.
was a marketing person, and she went from marketing into, how did she get here? She went marketing, but was very process driven in marketing, because she was working for companies that had to, had very specific things, right? That they had, like, biotech
Yeah.
or medical fields, or certain things you have to have in your marketing. If you don't have it, the government's going to come knocking. So she's very process driven. And then I can't remember how she said she got into bookkeeping, but now she has bookkeeping firms. But she's also doing, basically working with accounting firm owners on their process.
Yeah.
And so when you get into it, and you've been out on the exhibit hall floor,
Yeah.
I mean, there's all this technology,
Yeah.
and it's so much more about the tech now
Yeah.
than ever. And I mean, obviously, the accounting, the general ledger, all that still has to be there, and it still has to be right.
Yeah.
But it's about learning how to connect these things together and learning how to use them. And if you go on the public side of accounting and working with business clients, it's about, in my opinion, it's about engaging them and teaching them the systems and taking as much as you possibly can off of their plate, so that they can do what they do best, which is running their business.
Yeah.
So if you can, come into, a business owner's business and say, look, I'm going to do your bookkeeping, I'm going to do all these things so that you don't have to worry about it. And on the first of the month, I'm going to give you this report, we're going to talk about it, tell you what's good, what's bad, look at the metrics. The opportunities are endless. They really are. And it's not trigonometry,
Yeah.
like you said.
Yeah. And I know that math is really what stops people, is like, they hear accounting and they think math, and that's
Yeah.
it. The other thing I know people think too, though, is like, you sit in a cubicle and that's all you do. You don't talk to anybody. You don't go anywhere. You're in one place. But like, that's not how it is.
No.
There's so many opportunities for travel through
Yep.
various companies, like, depending on what role you decide to be in. Like, all you could do is travel if that's really what you
Right.
wanted. And it's client focused most times.
Yep,
And
very client
that's
focused.
the other thing, is that people don't realize that. And so it's just really off-putting for
Right.
people,
Yeah.
because they have these pre-assumptions on it, and it stops them from like looking into what it really is. So
Which is more opportunity for you.
yeah.
And so, and the other person that was in here prior to you, he actually he's a CFP, so certified financial planner, who worked for a company that really focused in talent management. And so now he and his business partner have a firm that works with athletes and entertainment. That's their core focus. And he said on the way here from his hotel, he stopped in, met with a lawyer who's in that field, because it's networking. That
Yeah.
part's all about networking.
Yeah.
And so you're spot on in your observation in that it's not trigonometry,
Yeah.
and it's not just sitting in a cubicle. It can be.
Yeah.
A lot of people do that, right? That's where they end up, especially if they, in my opinion, I wouldn't say this is factual, but I think this is the case, especially if you move into kind of that big firm world, and which I think pays really well, grinds you for 3 or 4 years and then makes you go work as an independent CPA, right? Do you think will you get your CPA? You're going to go that far?
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'm planning on getting my MBA
Okay.
and also my CPA after.
Gotcha.
So.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. And so let's talk real briefly, and then we'll wrap it up, about scholarships, right?
Okay.
When we were first getting to know each other, talking before we started recording, you said, "Hey, look, here's my situation. College is really expensive,
Yeah.
and and this is coming out of my pocket. So let's talk about that. And you're certainly not the only person that's having to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
And so talk about scholarships and what these scholarships mean to you and to other students. I mean,
Yeah.
it's critical, right?
Of course, without a doubt. So actually, it sounds really bad, but I originally thought my school was a private school. There was actually a lot of controversy on our campus that we thought we were a private school because of the cost of the college, but we're actually we have the highest tuition rate for a public school in South Carolina. So I pay a lot of money to attend a public school right now. I think it's
I didn't know it was public either. Huh.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of people thought it was private, but no, I pay $30,000
Ooh,
a year.
really?
Yeah, $30,000 a year for a public school, and you're required to stay on campus for the first 2 years, with very few exemptions.
Right.
So it's a very, very expensive thing, but being a first generation student, and coming from a single parent household, and being the oldest, there's so many things I'm going through
Right.
and have gone through. And my sister's not far behind me. We're only 11 months apart, and she actually decided to attend Winthrop as well. So we're going through the struggles a little bit together now. But for us, we're genuinely coming from poverty. We're really, really coming from poverty. We're very far below what we should be at income-wise. My mom's the only one who's working to, support me and my 3 other siblings, so there's 4 of us. So scholarships hold, great importance for us, because my mom told me senior year, sweetie, I want you to go to college.
Right.
I know that's what you want and what I want for you, but I'm going to tell you right now, I cannot pay for it. I cannot contribute a cent to it. I was like, I understand that. I'm going to get myself through this. So I did what I could in high school. I joined 9 clubs. I applied for every scholarship under the moon, talked to my counselors, was like, please, do you have any recommendations, anything I can apply for? And that's what I did. And I think that's what a lot of students do. And we work hard for them. So, scholarships are very, very important. And they're also a motivational thing. That's why I keep my grades up, among other reasons, of course.
Sure, right.
But I know that some students who have their parents pay for college, I'm so happy for them, because that's amazing and that's a great opportunity.
Right.
But I know the importance that we put on our grades and GPAs and such like that is so different.
Mm-hmm.
And so usually,
Well, it's your money, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
It hurts a lot more when it's your money.
Exactly. So, I work that much harder in my classes and that much harder on keeping my GPA up and succeeding and participating and making sure that I'm the best person that I can be to succeed.
Right.
So scholarships do a lot for you. They're not only getting you through college or helping you get through college, but they're helping you network, because normally it's a sponsor that you're getting it from,
Right.
the money. So you'll get to meet those people and make new connections.
Mm-hmm.
But also it's building character and, making sure that you're succeeding where you want to be, and
Right.
making you a better person. So scholarships are very, very important for many reasons.
Right. Here, look at that camera and say scholarships are very important.
Scholarships
many,
are
many
very
reasons.
important for many, many reasons.
But also, and part of the one reason, selfishly for the profession, is the talent gap that we talked about.
Yeah.
Right. And again, people are not knocking down the doors of schools to get into accounting.
Yeah.
And the profession has got to figure that out.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is going to cover some of that, right?
Yeah.
It's going to take some of that body count out, but as long as there's a government and as long as there's regulations, there's going to need to be a lot of people filling those roles.
Yeah.
And scholarships are going to have to be part of that, I would think, because again, it's not a sexy industry. It's not until you get out here on the show floor and you understand it's not trigonometry and it's not all about math.
Yeah.
It's about technology. It's about helping business owners, if you're on the public side, it's about helping business owners maximize their ability to make money and their success, because their success ultimately is going to be yours
Yeah.
as a public accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And people will finally realize, like, accountants are good people too.
right.
Because you don't know how many times I've heard, like, all I know about accountants is that they're mean. And I'm like, that's not what they're
They're
like.
mean.
There are good people there. Like,
That's
they're not all
hysterical.
mean and strict.
They're
But, no, in
mean.
high school, I literally heard that, like, they were like, no, accountants are so strict. They're so, like, mean and rude. And I'm like, have you even met an accountant? They're like,
Right.
no, but I know. And I'm like, no, you don't.
They're
You never
rule
met them.
followers. They're
Yeah.
rule followers,
Yeah.
which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But
You
and
can
I've
still
been in this
have
space
fun
for a
as
long
a
time.
rule follower.
Absolutely. Yeah. Are you going to the party tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
We had a question about it at first because I'm not 21, and they're like, "But there's
Oh.
gonna be a lot of alcohol." I was like,
Oh.
"I don't have to drink."
Yeah. I don't know what New Orleans. Well, there's probably no rules. It's New Orleans. They have no rules for that. So I think you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So all right. Well, thank you, Natalia. Thanks for taking some time to share that. And again, we're going to actually you look that way,
Okay.
and I'm going to look this way.
Okay.
We're both going to talk about the importance of scholarships for students, especially in our profession.
Agreed.
There we
Very
go.
important.
Great. Well, thank you.